Hey everyone, welcome to Founders 365 with me, Steven Haggerty. Today I'm joined by Mohammad Afridi, founder of Delikart. How are you today, Mohammed?
I'm very well. I'm very well. How are you, Steven?
I'm very well indeed. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's an
You've
honor to be here. Thank you so much. Thank you
no,
so
thank
much.
you. Very nice to hear that it's an honor. But you're founder of Delikart. Let's just start off by telling the listeners and viewers what Delikart is.
Delikart is basically a mobile-based platform that would allow users to virtually purchase any item which is found in physical store. Let's say, Steven, on a cold, rainy evening or a day, you're quite lazy to go out in the city center and purchase an item from the store. So instead of
Instantly.
go, I can imagine that because you see, instead of going to the city center, you can just go through our app. You can download, you can order the item and get it delivered to you within 1 hour.
That's pretty impressive. How did First and foremost, when did Delhi start? When did Delhi Cart start? When did the idea start to form in your head?
The idea came exactly like 3 years ago when I was in my first year in my university,
Yeah, because you're based in
and
Manchester, right?
yes, I graduated this year actually in accounting and finance from the University of Manchester. And the idea was born on a snowy, cold evening. And I was out of TV remote when I was watching Game of Thrones in my dorm room. And then actually, I was shocked, like I wanted to get TV remote batteries, and there was no service that actually could get me those batteries. So as soon as this situation happened, the idea was that of Delikart was formed.
Hmm.
And like in the start, I started researching about the idea by reading various books. I'm probably you get this a lot. Various books like Zero to One by Peter Thiel, Running
Great
Lean
book.
by Eric Ries, as well as The Lean Way by Ash Moria.
Hmm.
These three books had built a strong foundation within me, and you know what? I was good to go.
How long did it take for you to get from that idea stage, thinking, "Oh, why isn't this a thing?" to formulate what Delhi Cart is today and have that first customer?
Actually, it took me 2 years to validate the idea because
Hmm.
as a founder, when a business idea comes to you, you're really very insecure about it. You don't want to tell anyone, "Oh my God, like this is my idea. What if someone steals it?"
Yeah.
And like, after, as I said, after reading these books, I started to validate the idea by speaking to customers. I wanted to make a product that is actually wanted by customers. I didn't want it to make something that is not wanted by customers. I
Hmm.
started to speak to customers. I started creating surveys, and of course, I follow the lean method. So I like to build up something and then measure it and then rebuild it again. And after I knew there was a market and there was a demand for a product, I gathered a team and we started to build the product.
Amazing. One obvious question from my side of things is, we've got Deliveroo now, which has seen a huge increase in demand in the last couple of months. For you, what made you still want to go after creating Delicut? Because, with Deliveroo, within a minute they can just add a shop and pretty much do what you want to try and do. Was there any part of you that thought about that and perhaps thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this?
The thing is, companies, food delivery companies like Uber Eats and Deliveroo,
Hmm.
their business model is very different in comparison to us. They are like solely based in working in the food segment rather than like
Hmm.
retailing stores, because the revenue stream that these companies have, they earn in on the basis of commissions. In
Hmm.
order to add retailing store in the system, first of all, they wouldn't be able to operate in the same business model they operate in the for the food segment. And this is what actually made us motivate to like capture the market. And talking about the unique functionality that we will be having in the Delicard in the long run, we would
Hmm.
allow any individual to pick up and deliver an item for a supplementary income. Let's say you're on your way from city center and you're a student. uh, um, so instead of spending in bus fee or other transportation costs, you can directly go to our app and pick up and deliver an item for a supplementary income. This is what differentiates us from Deliveroo and Uber Eats, because we are solving a problem in the hyperlocal that's not what actually Deliveroo is solving. The business model is completely different. And honestly, Deliveroo and Uber Eats aren't our rival. They completely have a different business model,
Yeah.
as well as the segment they currently operate in. I would
Is
say
there currently a rival that you've got? Because this is actually an idea that not many people are doing. I've seen people attempt to do it before, but not ones that have lasted. Let's put it that way. So for you, who are your main competitors?
the main competitors in the UK right now, we have none. We have the first mover advantage, and
Good place
uh,
to be.
that's absolutely right. You always want that. And in the US, there is a company called Postpaid, which has a similar business model like us, but they're not exactly the same that we are doing, because they have their own sets of delivery drivers, and instead we are focused on peer-to-peer delivery. And if you remember, in 2016, 2017, there was another company called Jin in the market. Due to the problem in the management system of Jin, the company went bankrupt after Series B round of investment. But as customers used to love the service that Jin provided. We're just like aiming to operate and penetrate in the market that Jin provided and be sustainable, learn from their mistakes. That's what our main goal is.
Love it. For you, when the app was launched and it was live, how did it feel when you got that first order through the app from a customer that you didn't know? So it wasn't a friend or family. How did that feel?
Honestly, the app is not yet launched until now, but during the lockdown of COVID 19, what we did, we wanted to test the functionality and the first prototype. That's why we had the private version. And in order to make it sustainable and capitalize during the COVID and to reduce the outbreak, we gave out our prototype to the charities across Manchester.
Brilliant.
And the feeling of the first customer is always amazing. Like, it's just a feeling that as if you discovered fire for the first time. And especially in 1 month, without any marketing, without a single penny spent in marketing and other ways of marketing, we managed to deliver 2,470 deliveries with a staggering growth of 57% on average. So it's always an amazing feeling to have the first customer. But you know what's a much better feeling than having a first customer?
Go on.
The feedback the customer provides in order to make your app much better. That's the feeling that can't be compared to anything, because
And from
entrepreneurship.
those 2,470 deliveries, what was one of the the feedbacks of something that you should be changing that you didn't even have foresight on, that you can only experience from that user side?
It was mainly functionalities of the app and the design of the app that we had to work on, because our main question to customers were like, is it easy to use? Do you actually like it? What is the what is the thing that may be have been a problem, or what is the thing that have lead to inconvenience? And it was mainly functionality, because we had different plan for the design in the app, and like the users wanted something else, like me as a founder, I'm a sole believer, five fingers in your hand isn't the same. The thing that I might like, you might not be loved
Yeah,
by you. For example,
100%.
the shirt that I'm wearing right now, I love this, but
It's a
Stephen, for
nice
you,
shirt. It's a
oh
nice
really, thank
shirt.
you so much, I appreciate it. For you, it might not be be the same, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is it.
It's that is such a great point to bring up, because I feel like a lot of founders, especially in the tech space, and when they haven't perhaps had that user feedback quite yet, they're going on their gut, aren't they? They're going on the what they think is needed. But as soon as you get that initial feedback, and it's almost like your business was is probably one of the few businesses that was at the perfect time to be able to have an awful situation like COVID, but an amazing situation for you to be like, right, let's put this out in the market, let's test it, let's give it to the charities, let's do some really amazing things. 2,470 deliveries is basically thinking that's 2,470 items or people that were struggling to get items and for struggling to get that. So for you as a founder,
Absolutely.
that must make you feel amazing, that you did something really good like that as well.
Yes, of course, it made me feel amazing. And the thing is that we are solving a real life problem in the
Yeah,
economy. And I would be much more happier if we actually solve the problem. Because, you know what's like the most devastating thing that I came across a few days back? Actually, I came across quite a long time, like by 2035, 97% of physical stores in the city center would close down due to lack of online presence. So this is the problem that we are actually solving. And if we can be the benchmark or the platform that solves the problem, that's a big achievement that like we as a company and me as a founder would achieve. I'm just like a dreamer that want to make the life of users easy.
yeah. It's
That's it.
it's it's really refreshing to see as well. I want to take you back though, back to that first year at university. You probably this typical student, super excited to start their next chapter of their life, and then this idea of this business comes into your mind. And I'm willing to bet, this is a big assumption from my part, but it kind of took over your uni thinking and, got absorbed by it, because if it didn't, you wouldn't be where you are today. For you, how did it feel from going from the initial uni plan to Delikart being born out of this frustration of not having batteries?
Honestly, I get this question a lot. It was not a frustration, I would say. It was much more of a much more of a passion, because my business roots can be traced back when I was 12 year old, and I was born to a business family. I was always inspired by my father, the way he did his business and managed his entire empire. So I got involved in business for a really young age, and actually just gave me a reason to stick to my passion and follow my dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And uni is always wonderful because you meet a lot of people here, you make amazing memories, you gain a lot of knowledge. But plus, like the business idea was I was working on, it was just a bonus. It was
Yeah.
simply a bonus. It
And for
was that
you,
sorry, it was like I was expecting some kebab shop food, I got some high class luxury food like we did, it
you've
was just
done,
like that.
you basically pulled the long straw and you've won,
Exactly.
which is great. So
Exactly.
Delikart for you, you graduated, the idea's out there, you've tested it. What's next for you? What's the growth plan for Delikart moving forward?
Delikart movement as a growth plan, I would say we're expecting to have an official launch in November, and as soon as we launch the app. We gonna try for much more traction in the app,
Hmm.
and at the same time we'll be looking for the first round of funding, which is pre-seed, and we already have various VCs who have approached us regarding this. So yeah, we are aiming to move ahead and increase the value of the brand by various rounds of investments, just
Hmm.
like a typical tech company.
Exactly. You mentioned that you've already got VCs approaching you, which is such a one. It's a great sign, but two, it's also a really nice moment for you to probably have that. I'm guessing a lot of external validation other than the users, because VCs obviously they see the potential, they're willing to part with their money. For you, what makes you know that that's the route you want to go down? What makes you go, right, this is the route we want to go down in terms of growth, rather than additional other routes that you can go down?
Because, as I said, I mentioned you about the book Zero to One, and from the research I have done, in order to grow big and in order to solve a problem, in order to have a first mover advantage, you need an external investment.
Hmm.
You can't just bootstrap for 5, 10 years and then be like, you know what, I'm going to be sustainable. I'm just going to put the profits in the company again and again. Because as a tech business, it's really very hard to establish, and it's not profitable for a few years,
Yeah.
and in the long run you aim to be profitable. But if you have an external investment, your probability increases to be profitable and to have the first mover advantage. And since we are the only company that aims in operating in this market and be the first in the UK, So my main aim is to have various rounds of investment, starting from pre-seed and C, Series A, B, C, and then of course my long-term aim is to take the company public. Touch
You're
wood,
going big.
hopefully, hopefully.
No doubt you will. For you as a founder, obviously at the moment, or the last 3 years, you've had that support network of the university, your friends, your family. For moving forward, how do you envision getting that support? How do you envision making sure that your environment and your day-to-day operation as you personally is the best possible so that you can reflect that within the business?
The support, the first thing is you need to be as positive as you can. You can't let an inch of negativity get into yourself. I still remember when I came up with this idea, there have been a lot of people who have criticized me. Even I get
Sure.
criticisms like quite a lot, this is not going to work. How are you going to validate it? It's just about matter of fact that you need to prove them wrong. I think positivity, determination, and positive people actually creates a better business environment to operate in.
How
And
how do you consciously do that then? How do you consciously make yourself, make sure that you're positive every day? Because criticism is always a hard one to take sometimes, and I completely agree. If you're positive, if you're realistic, and you're moving forward, then that outweighs everything. Is there anything that you do on a day-to-day basis to make sure that your mindset is in that right place?
yes, I do. I just the first thing I do is as soon as I wake up in the morning, I look myself at the mirror and I know who's my competition right away. There's no Deliveroo, no Uber Eats. That's me. I just need to improve, say from yesterday. That's my goal. And if like I had this feeling, and if I have this sentiment of improving more than what I was yesterday, it just leads you to be much more positive, and you don't care much about the outside world. And I would just say to other entrepreneurs who are live right now or who would be checking out this podcast is like you just compete with yourself and stay connected to a limited amount of people.
Mm,
That's how you have positivity in your life, and that's how you start a business and gain success in your business. That's all
love
I
that.
would say.
That really reminds you of the Matthew McConaughey. I think it was his Oscar speech where he says he's chasing himself 10 years ahead. So he's always
Right.
chasing himself, and he knows he's never going to catch up. But it's that competition that himself in 10 years is further ahead than he is now, and for him to be there, he has to show up every day. He has to be that 1% better every day, and everything like that. So
That's so
amazing,
true. That's so true. Actually,
amazing
that's so true.
mentality. And
That's so true.
doing 147 of these interviews now, the one of the common themes of founders is their mindset, is their positivity, is the fact that I suppose the one word we can use is resilience, right? Because
Absolutely.
you mentioned that you had people come up to you and say, look, the idea is not going to work. It needs to be more validated. All these negative effects, and a true entrepreneur, a true founder who really makes it are the resilient ones, are the ones that can
Absolutely.
get up every day, like you said, look in the
Absolutely.
mirror. I love that the fact you do that, but look in the mirror and know that the only person that can make something of a success is yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the face when you come up with the idea and you get criticism is the like biggest hurdle you need to move on. If you can go through that stage,
Yeah,
everything seems like it's under control. Trust me,
exactly.
trust me. Like if someone criticizes you, they don't like. I believe certainly, if someone criticizes you, there are two types of criticism actually. Like one is a good criticism which you need to improve your product, which you need to improve yourself, and
Hmm.
other one is just like, you know what, this guy is doing business, just let's just break him off.
Yeah,
And if you can get through that hurdle, you're invincible. I would say that, you're
exactly. And
invincible.
also there's some criticism which you just don't need to listen to, right? All your criticism,
Absolutely.
your users are the ones that you need to be listened to. Your investors are the ones that you need to listen to. The market
Absolutely.
is the one you need to listen to. You don't really
Absolutely.
need to listen to your next door neighbor Sarah who doesn't really get the idea. It's all about who you surround yourself with and what that internal or that incoming communication is and what you're filtering out, which is fantastic. Mohammed, for you, you've got a really great growth plan. I love the fact you're going big. I love the fact that I'm going to see Delikart go public one day and hopefully one day
Hopefully,
in the
hopefully,
near future.
hopefully.
Um, What sort of challenges are you envisioning over the next couple of months? Obviously, coming out of COVID now, well, not out of it, but it's very different than it was 3 months ago, where, like you said, everything was on lockdown. People are now being able to travel a little bit more freely, get items more freely. How are you envisioning the growth and the challenges in the next couple of months towards the end of the year?
The challenges that we might actually encounter as a startup is that, like, this is have been in my head since the COVID started. We might be devalued as a startup for our pre-seed round. That's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest challenge that we might face, because, as you know, like, the economy is much more worse than 2008 right now, and that's why people are not actually as keen in investing in startups around the world they used to be, as of
Mm.
which they devalue much startups right now, like, for 50%.
Wow.
That's an average rate they devalue these startups for. This will be our biggest challenge if we can get through that hurdle. And I don't think there is anything which is necessary to think about or expect right now, because we have a great team, we have a great plan, and we look forward to move up with the team.
Yeah.
All I would say.
No, I think that's a really great point. But I suppose on the flip side of that, you've got one of those businesses that is actually probably going to see an increase in demand as people are still wary about going out, are still unsure about
Can I
things.
make a point right now?
Gone.
Touch wood, please.
Touch wood. Touch wood.
Yeah,
Always
touch
touch
wood,
wood.
touch wood, touch wood. Yeah.
But listen,
Uh,
if you're waking up every day looking in that mirror, you don't need to touch wood. You're going for it. You're going to pivot and you're going to do what you want to do.
Hopefully, hopefully.
There's no such thing as hope, Mohammed. You know this, man. You know this. Um, for you, then, one of my final questions for you, Mohammed, is if you were going to give yourself some advice over the last couple of years, looking back now, I know hindsight's one of those glorious things, but if you were going to give yourself advice and perhaps ways that you could have done things better or more streamlined, what a couple of bits of advice that you would give to your past self?
Mm, I would say the biggest advice and the most important advice I would give myself looking at the past is just be positive, because I've been through that phase, and I have mentioned quite a lot about in this podcast today is this again and again, because I know how entrepreneurs are actually criticized and demotivated. I would say myself, because me as a founder, I think I've lost a good amount of time because of this criticism
Hmm.
when I was demotivated.
Yeah, it can
When
really knock people down.
like, at one point of time I was like, the thing which I'm doing, am I actually doing something right? Am I actually going to the right path? And I still remember the day I just called up my father, and I was like, Dad, this is the thing that I'm thinking of, but, like, around people around have told me this. What should I do? He just gave me one advice. There's I forgot the name of the philosopher. He used to say, an airplane always takes off against the wind,
Hmm.
and that's what my father told me. And I was like, you know what, let's just give it a shot, let's do it,
Yeah.
let's do it, it doesn't matter to me. So positivity, peace of mind is the most important for an entrepreneur, and that's the thing which actually builds a strong foundation within an entrepreneur in order to achieve success and make the make a revolutionary idea into action. Everyone has an amazing idea. If someone comes to me today and asks me, like, dude, I came up with this idea, what do you think about it? I would say it's amazing, you have an amazing idea. It's not the idea that you have, it's about how you execute the plan
Yeah.
despite of all odds.
Especially founders, entrepreneurs, we probably have hundreds of thoughts every day that could be a incredibly successful business. We're one of those people. We're that type of people that will always see the shiny object. But it's what we implement on and what we focus on is what makes it
Absolutely.
a success. And I love that quote that your dad gave you. I mean, that's such a poignant quote. I think you should have that on your wall, written somewhere. Because I'm sure that's quite a moment in time as well when you look back on, when you go public and you look back and you think about that conversation. And he could have said something completely different if he wasn't the sort of person he is, and it would have taken your life on a whole different lane.
Honestly, my parents are my biggest motivation, like, for business. and they always give me the push that I always need. And as well as my friends, the friends in uni, friends back home, they have always have got my back, and then they support me to the maximum amount they can. I'm very grateful, actually.
Yeah,
I'm
I
very
mean,
grateful for them.
it just goes to show how much your environment matters and how much your circle matters. And it's that cheesy classic saying of, your net worth is your network, but it's so true. If you're speaking to people that encourage you, that push you, that I did a post yesterday actually, and I was saying, look, how often do you get pushed out your comfort zone? Because actually that push, it makes you go further, it makes you reach further, it makes you land further away in what you can do on your own sometimes. So
Absolutely.
I'm no doubt your parents are incredibly proud, and I'm sure where they're sitting is they're watching Delikart grow, and no doubt that when you're on that stage, when you're going public, they've got your back, and they'll be celebrating
Hopefully,
with you, which will
hopefully,
be
hopefully,
fantastic.
hopefully,
Um,
hopefully.
Listen,
Looking forward
Mohammed,
to it.
one of my final questions is: how can people find out more about Delikart? How can people get on board, and how can they find out?
They can go to our the website www.delicard.uk, and they can be added to the pre-sign up list. And if they have any questions about it, they're always free to approach me on LinkedIn. And on LinkedIn, I'm a founder. I'm not like, if someone messages me on LinkedIn, I wouldn't be replying. I might be late in replying, but I'll definitely get back to the ones who have actually messaged me.
Yeah, Delicart. Your website's delicart.co.uk, right?
The www.delicard.co.uk. Absolutely,
Yeah,
like it's on LinkedIn
excellent.
as well.
Mohammed, listen, thank you so much for coming on Founders 365. I've really loved hearing the Delicart journey. And listen, I know for a fact, and I don't need to touch wood, but you're going to make it. You're going to get investment rounds, and you're going to grow ridiculously great.
Thank you so much, Stephen, and it was an honor being on board with you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so much.
Mohammed.
Thank you
And
so much.
thanks everyone for watching and listening. This has been Founders 365.